You're right. Oh, God, what is wrong with me today? Having a stroke. You only have 5. Why don't I only have 5?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, but I only have 4 left. We just do this. Nothing?
Okay. Thank you for bringing some romance into our lives.
We're married. We should always have romance in our lives.
Okay.
Doing it.
Why don't we save that one? Why don't we save it?
You want me to do mine then?
Do yours.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh! Jesus Christ! Sorry. That's the way to start.
I did not expect for that to happen. Hi.
Hello. Welcome back.
We are Shelf Possessed. I am David.
And I guess I'm Craig. So, welcome.
Almost died.
He almost killed me. So you almost saw my murder on camera. And knowing him, he probably would have edited it and put it up and then revealed in a second video.
10,000 views.
Yeah.
In 15
I
minutes.
murdered my husband. Let this stand as proof.
How meta would that be? And then somebody writes a book about it and then somebody reviews it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, along that line, welcome back. We are doing a little bit of probably a belated video. We're not necessarily newbies, as it were. We've been doing this for a little while, not long at all, but we are going to go ahead and participate in the BookTube newbie tag.
Okay.
Yeah. We hope that, we can kind of reach out to some new people who are also joining and growing their channels and kind of starting themselves off. And so we want to join in that conversation. So
because we did not we did a little bit of it
Yeah.
in that first video, but there were some things that we just didn't answer.
Yeah.
But I always think it's a good refresher too.
And if you're curious too, we'll link it in the description box below. But our very first video from the summer of 2021, we did a channel introduction and we just kind of answered random questions. Some were about BookTube, some were about why we're doing this, and some were about just who we are in general. We have been following a number of BookTubers and we really, really love the community and we've been watching some videos. I did find a specific BookTube newbie tag with questions that we haven't answered. So I'm going to link up Morgan Vega's channel up here. So we do like Morgan's channel quite a bit, and I found on her website she had some BookTube newbie questions 2.0. So these are questions that we haven't really answered or talked about, so we thought we'd just kind of go through them. And then at the end of the video, we have a very special kind of reveal for you, so stick around for that. Should we just jump in?
Okay, do you want me to read them?
Sure, we can just go back and forth. Yeah.
Okay, so the first question, what genres would you like to see talked about more on BookTube?
It's a great question, because we tend to follow people on BookTube who kind of talk about the same genres that we read. Mm-hmm. We see there's a lot of thrillers, a lot of horror, a lot of mysteries, and so we follow a lot of that. Something that I would like to see is people talking more specifically only about LGBTQ plus fiction, specifically writers who are LGBTQ plus writing those stories as well. I think that would be really interesting to see.
Mm-hmm. And if you know anybody that actually does that, I send us a link to it.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be great.
And I think following more LGBT plus creators is also something that we need to be better at. But yes, yeah.
Great.
What about you?
Same thing, but I think there are some. I don't know. I don't want to say that I'm a boring reader, but I think I don't hear a lot. Well, we both like theater and plays. Not a lot of people do a lot of that stuff, and I don't know if anybody's just not interested in that stuff, or if people even consider plays to be, in like should be in the BookTube realm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's funny because we do both love theater and like we do read plays. I'm surprised there are people who are talking about plays as like a literary genre as opposed to just something that's performative because you know, you can both read and watch a play. That's the beauty of it. So maybe that's something we could probably dip our toes into a little bit too.
You can also get through them very, very quickly.
By reading them.
Too. So I think Matthew Lopez was the only one that we read this year, at least for this channel.
Yeah.
His book, or his play, The Inheritance, which is
I mean, I read plays all the time. I just don't always want to talk about them because it's usually for school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two birds, one stone. Okay, number 2.
What do you feel is the best way to make friends on BookTube? I think we've been pretty lucky as we started that we've already kind of made some friends and reached out to some people, specifically other creators and then even some authors who I think are friends. Even though they may not believe that, I think that we believe that they are our friends at least. So yeah.
It's good stuff. So I think that too. I would like to interview more authors too, and then even do book club stuff with other booktubers. I think would be fun as well. But yeah, I enjoy that stuff. I love doing this with you, but I
want someone else.
But I also I like connecting with other people.
Yeah.
As well.
And part of that is like doing live shows and reaching out and playing games and doing other things with other booktubers and making comments and having conversations. I have found that the YouTube comment section is really, really hard for me to navigate. It's easier for me to connect with people on Instagram as opposed to the comment section on YouTube because I'm just weirdly more tuned into Instagram than I am sometimes to YouTube. So I need to get better at that. I think that's a big part of, reaching out and making friends with people, but just having people shout us out, Sean the Book Maniac shouted us out. We have the Buy Book Boy shouted us out.
Miss Reads a Lot.
Yep. We have a lot of people who are finding our channel and then talking about us. And then I want us to get better at engaging with those people because that's how you make sustaining friendships. And there's a few booktubers that I talk to on Instagram, like Gabby Reads and I have conversations sometimes on Instagram, which is great. We don't engage with each other on YouTube though. So I think we kind of need to bridge that gap a little bit. So yeah.
All right. Number 3, what will or do you enjoy the most about making BookTube videos?
What do you enjoy the most about it?
I like finishing them. I like them when they're done.
You like hitting the record button at the very end and saying we're finished.
We're done. No, I like. I think the process it's a very tedious process. So I enjoy filming them, but I know that it's a tedious process for you afterwards. I think that's what I don't enjoy. I enjoy doing them because I think they're fun, and I think we're silly, and I think we enjoy each other, and I think it would be different if we did not.
Yeah, if we were enemies, or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, I think I weirdly, as much as I complain to you sometimes about the amount of editing that I have to do, I actually kind of do enjoy that. If I have enough of a chunk of a time to sit down and just edit, I can lose myself in that, and I actually really enjoy that. But I also feel guilty when I'm editing because I probably should be reading. That's the hard part. But I do love filming them. I love creating the content and coming up with the ideas and then finding the books to read. I think that's the best part about it. And then I myself personally really enjoy the editing process.
I think it's funny because what we're doing now is something that I probably would have been ridiculed for when I was a child or a teenager.
You mean reading a lot?
Talking about books, trying to engage people with books. And now it's just it seems like it's okay to do now. Now there's spaces to do that in, and I wish I would have had that growing up because nobody really liked to read. People that I was around, nobody really liked to read except for me. So it's I had to do it in the dark.
Yeah. So. I think we both had that very similar experience when we were kids. We would read it in a very isolated environment, either just in our bedrooms or, alone somewhere in the library. We wouldn't be reading and talking about it with people, which now we have a full platform to do. So as 40-year-old men.
What do you least look forward to when making BookTube videos?
Well, I mean, I think for me, it's the process. I mean, I did just say that I do enjoy the editing, and I do. The editing is a problem for me when I have a bajillion other things going on. Like, that's why sometimes our videos aren't consistent, or we're not getting things out on time because I'm grading, or I'm in rehearsal, or I'm building a set, or, I'm trying to have a life. And so it's balancing all of that. That's kind of the thing that I least look forward to, is finding the balance between these things. Because I do love doing them. There's other things I love doing too. So.
I also think, like, I want to be in a good mood when we do them. And if I'm not, it's just not. I know how I am.
Yeah.
Or if we're arguing before we do it, it's just not.
Which we don't do very often. Let's not put that out there.
No, I know that I have to be in a good mood, and if I'm not in a good mood, then I know, it's not going to be good for the viewer to watch. So I think that's something that I at least look forward to. But other than that, I think as we've gone on doing this, I think we kind of find a rhythm.
Yeah. I'm also really persistent because I like, if we can get a bunch of videos knocked out at one time, I want to do it, because then I can spend the time and I can edit and get things scheduled and do all of that, because that would make my life easier. And then if I push too hard and I ask him to do too much, then you can start to see when he starts to shut down a little bit.
Then it's like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, it's like I'm just over here like, come on, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Number 5. What videos other than tags, TBRs, wrap-ups, reviews, and recommendations do you want to see more of? That's a great question, too.
I think from us, what I've heard from is people want us to vlog more.
Yeah.
Which I always forget to do.
Yeah. Well, and
when we say that we're going to do it, I'm like, I can film this, and then I'm like, and then I don't. Right?
I think it's also, too, like, I don't know that I don't want to say that we're boring. We're not boring people, like, but we do things pretty consistently. Like, we do the same things over and over again. And we don't have, like, we're not going out shopping all the time, or we're not going out to parties all the time. We're not, like, traveling all the time. So we're either in our house, we're at school, and that's it.
I also, and this is just me, I find it very weird to film myself reading, because then I feel like I have to perform. Or I keep looking at the camera while I'm reading. So I find that very weird. That's just for me. Some people enjoy that. Me, if I'm watching somebody read, I'm like, well, I could be reading too.
Yeah.
So vlogging, what else?
For me, I think, like, BookTube, it seems, comes with all of those things, right? Tags, TBRs, wrap-ups, all that stuff. That seems to come with the territory. And it's the people who can create stuff outside of that content that I find the most engaging. So whether it's vlogging, whether it's reading sprints, whether it's creating content, like, I'm really proud of the chapter taste testing. That wasn't from our brains necessarily, but, like, stuff like that, where you're engaging with book material, but you're doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
I love author interviews, and I love reaching out to authors and talking to them about their process, and, like,
it's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah.
That we've done.
But I want to see more curated content that is not specific to just, like, a TBR. Like, I'm going to read all these books, I'm going to vlog about them, or I'm going to talk about all these books that then I've already read. Like, if you're going to pick a TBR, I want maybe, like, a themed TBR, and then, like, to do things in that theme, to, like, pair with the books, or, like, I love creating soundtracks for what I read. And so then finding music and books that go really well together and sharing those soundtracks. That's hard on YouTube because of copyright, but, being able to kind of share some of that stuff with people, I would personally like to see more of that too. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 6, what are some themes you want to see more of or less of in books?
Oh, this is a long list for me. Well, for me, I want less unreliable narrators.
I need more.
I want less multiple perspectives, especially in thriller books. I need less of that, and I want less time jumping. I want consistent storytelling more in books. So.
You're a cozy reader.
Yeah.
I'm not so much of a cozy reader. I need something to kind of hit me over the head like with a frying pan. That's the kind of work that I look for. So I say more of that always, and that's kind of like what I usually seek out.
Yeah, I think I'd also really love to see books that are willing to play with genre a little bit. Like, I would love to read, a historical fiction book that that also dips its toe into horror and romance and like all of these things. Like, I want to see things that are kind of cross genre pollinating a little bit, and because I do like my typical genre choices, but I would be happy to read things that are bridging multiple genres and kind of surprising people. So yeah.
Okay.
What advice would you give to a booktuber who has just created their channel? Have a time for yourself. Carve out time for editing. Carve out time for reading. And carve out time to engage.
Yeah. I agree. I've never edited a video any one of our videos before.
But he's going to learn.
I'm going to learn though. But I say yeah. But I think engagement is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
At least for me anyway. I'm usually the one that kind of responds to any kind of YouTube comments or anything like that, or Instagram comments. So I want more of that because I enjoy that aspect of it.
My big thing is that really, I mean, if you're wanting to join the conversation and you're wanting to, make a splash and jump in, you should do it, because I think that it's a great place to be and the people here are wonderful. But you need to make sure that you have time to do all of those things. Because if you're going to create a BookTube channel, you have to talk about books. And to talk about books, you have to read. So if you don't have time to read, then a BookTube channel may not be the best idea.
Or even start out small with just a book, like one book. There's times when I'm looking at other booktubers and I'm like, well, how are they reading like 15 books in a month?
Yeah.
Which I'm like, good on you, but I that's not me.
Yeah.
So I say start wherever you are, and if you can only get one book in a month, by all means do that. I'd rather watch something, a booktuber that's just talking about one book and that they absolutely loved or hated, than like 10 books in a row, and it's like I can't keep track.
Yeah.
Of all that. So
yeah, all of that. I think all of that is absolutely true. Just make sure that you have the time and the energy to commit, because when you watch a YouTube video, it doesn't feel like it takes much effort or work or time or money, but it does take all of those things. And so if you don't have that, then it becomes even more difficult. And so, I mean, we live in a world now with technology that you can film a YouTube video on your phone and you can edit it on your phone and you can upload it from your phone. So like, you can do a lot of things. It's just a matter of, how well do you want to do them? And how much time do you want to spend doing them? So that is the lesson I have learned.
and have fun.
Yes.
Too. If it stops being fun.
If it's work, don't do it. Yeah. Unless it is work and you're trying to make money from it, then do it. But
I think don't focus on that. Just that shouldn't be your main focus, or else it's just going to kind of eat you up if you don't see the results so quickly. I think the main thing for us was that we just wanted it to be fun. We didn't really care about how many subscribers we got. If we just had a small kind of pool of people that enjoyed our videos, that was really the most important thing for us.
Yeah.
So just have fun and enjoy what you do. Okay, number 8. What are some qualities or traits that you look for when it comes to watching other booktubers?
I mean, I want people who are genuine. Like, it's hard. I don't know. I feel like it's hard when you're watching YouTube, because if you've created YouTube videos, then you know what the process is like to actually do that. And then you're watching other YouTubers who are in some ways going through the same process. And so finding people who are genuinely being themselves and not being performative or not being, ridiculous on purpose, is sometimes difficult. But on BookTube, that's less of a problem. I think people on BookTube are the most genuine people on the platform. Just people who are genuine. That's really all I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think people that actually will read the books, first of all, and not just read like 2 chapters and then rate them, which I think is kind of a cop-out anyway. So I think people that are just genuine, and you can see their love of reading, you can see their love of BookTube, you can see their love of actually sharing the information with their audience. I think that's something that I seek out when I look for other booktubers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we want people who are willing to have the conversation and talk to and engage with us too. Like that's something that we look forward to. So the last question on Morgan Vega's BookTube Newbie Tag 2.0 is, what's a hobby besides reading and writing that people on BookTube might not know that you have?
Everybody knows that we're theater practitioners
Mm-hmm.
by now. Something that I don't really talk about, I kind of write on my own time.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't share anything
except with me,
like that.
And his writing is brilliant.
So that's kind of like one of my hobbies. I just don't really have a lot of time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily this semester I'll have more time to work on my own
Yeah.
kind of writing stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's probably, I think, about it.
I mean, mine is
hobbies.
I've always been like interested in crafting and DIYing and like making things, and being someone who's in theater, it comes naturally anyway. But like recently, within the last, I would say 6 months, he bought me a Cricut for Christmas 2 years ago, and then the pandemic happened, and I just didn't have a chance to really use it or anything to use it on, except for a few times, and then I finally like got the motivation to start working on stuff, and I've been making a crap ton of shirts, including this one that this one's wearing. I both did the coloring on it and the logo on it, and I've really, really enjoyed that. And this last show at school, I've been doing a lot of the construction part of the set, and found that I'm actually not that bad at it. And so I'm toying with the idea of building a bookcase on my own without my father, because my father usually helps me. But
he made our beautiful bookcase there in the hallway.
I mean, it wasn't just him. I helped a little, But yeah, I think not woodworking as like a hobby, but I think I want to, try to do some stuff on my own.
I think we were lucky enough that our hobbies are now, our main professions.
Yeah, in some ways. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that the other day. I'm getting ready to teach a film class, and just my love of film and trying to teach Generation Z about films from the past. That's my job for this semester. So yeah.
If a movie was made before 2000, they're going to say that it was made in the 1900s. So
yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, that's really, I think that's probably one of the best things, is to make your hobby your profession.
Yeah.
We're lucky that we could do that, and then now we get to do this and talk about books.
Yeah. Well, that's the last question on Morgan's list. I wanted to add a 10th question. And the 10th question is also going to be part of our little reveal that we're going to give you. But before we do that, thank you to Morgan. Thank you for those questions. I know that they're from a few years ago, but they're great questions, and you did a great job curating those. And so we'll tag you. You can click on Morgan's channel above, and I'll put Morgan's channel in the description box below.
She
as well.
just released a book.
She did. Yep.
Yes.
I can't wait to get it and read it and talk about it, because I'm sure it's going to be great. So
yeah.
So the 10th question that I'm going to add to this BookTube Newbie tag is, what were your top 10 books of the past year? So whenever you are finding this video, if you want to use these questions, I'm going to tag on a 10th question and say, what were your top 10 books of the past year? That will give people a better insight into who you are as a booktuber. So, and to do that, we're going to reveal to you our top 10 books of 2021. So we're just going to reveal them at the same time, in no particular order necessarily, except for we'll note tape, when something was one of our best or one of our favorites of the year. So should we reveal our first book of 2021 that we both loved?
Mm-hmm.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Mine is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix.
And mine is 100 Boyfriends by Brontez Purnell. Yeah, this is one of the first books that I reviewed on this channel and absolutely loved it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so...
My friend Dusty got me this and sent it to me, and it didn't come out in 2021, but I didn't read it until this last year, so yes, I love this book.
Soon to be made into a movie.
I thought was it a movie or a series? Oh, it's a movie.
I think it's a movie.
Yeah. All right, you ready for the next one?
Oh, gosh.
Our next favorite book of 2021 Mine is Finley Donovan is Killing It by El Casamano.
And mine, of course, is Nights at the Circus by one of my all-time favorites, Angela Carter.
And our next favorite book of 2021.
Oh my god!
Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. Read this book if you haven't.
Writers and Lovers by Lily King. Just, oh my god.
Our next favorite of 2021. Ready? Yes. 1, 2, 3. Survive the Night by Riley Sager.
Okay, well that's a double because that was also on my list as well as The Visitors by Catherine Burns, which was just heartbreaking, horrifying, and just oh god, it was just one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah,
this year.
This is I liked this book a lot. It's not my favorite Riley Sager book, but of the books that I read in 2021, it stood out as being one of the best.
Yeah,
and most anticipated too. So
same for me too. We got through that pretty quickly as well. But very. I don't know. Nobody really. Well, I'm not saying nobody, but a lot of people didn't like that book. I truly loved that book, and I got it as a film lover. If you're a really like hardcore film lover, you get it.
Yeah.
But that and Catherine Burns, I'm eagerly awaiting her next book because this was that was a treat.
Yeah. All right, next one. All right, 1, 2, 3. Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix.
Mieko Kawakami's Heaven.
Very different books.
Final Girl Support Group was also one of my favorites as well as so was Kawakami's Heaven.
I think that this book was a lot of people who talk about horror and thriller books didn't understand this book and then talked about it in the wrong way, I think. And I think if you understand horror movies and you understand survival and trauma, like this book makes a lot more sense. But if you don't understand that stuff, then, or if you don't have a grasp for that stuff, then it makes less sense.
Also, if you don't know any horror trivia or references, you're going to lose a lot of that too, especially some of the characters in there, especially some of the characters' names as well.
There's a lot of meaning behind everything in this book.
So if you're not a hardcore horror fan, you probably just didn't get it, or you were expecting, you were expecting like a gory slasher book, and that's really not what you got.
The cover, I think, is just like, at first when I saw it, I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then I saw it, I was like, oh, I get it completely. So.
I think I'm going to talk about Heaven later on in the month on another channel, but this was a very beautiful, beautiful book. Kawakami's now, she's up there and one of my favorite writers that I've kind of located recently. This was a very beautiful experience and just sad, eye-opening, just crushing, all in a good way.
So those were our top 5 so far. We have 5 more left. My next one I don't have a physical copy of because I listened to it on audio. Mm-hmm. So why don't you reveal yours, and then I will toss a picture of mine up right there.
This is double duty here of Claire Fuller's Unsettled Ground and her other book, Bitter Orange. Both I truly loved this year, and just stories and characters that I had never read about before. So these were very lovely books. Yeah. Also great covers too. So yeah, those were great.
Mine is A Carnival of Snackery by David Sedaris, which was the second set of his diaries. I received an ALC of that from Libro and listened to that audio. We listened to David Sedaris audiobooks as we go to bed. And so I was able to finish that book relatively quickly, even though it's like 12 hours long. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. I love his voice. I love his writing. I've always loved him. And that is no different at all. And I love the exploration of his relationship with Hugh. And yeah, great book. Okay. All right. Our next one, they all go together. So ready? 1, 2, 3.
Amy Gentry, Bad Habits, Last Woman Standing, and Good as Gone. Oh, it was an Amy Gentry year.
And that's all due to him. And to be fair, I also have read Last Woman Standing, but I won't tell you what I think until you watch our video at the end of this month.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
He hasn't read Bad Habits yet.
It's on my list for February.
Next for him. So I'm excited for you to read that because
And I loved Good Is Gone. It was a great introduction to Amy and to her work. So
yeah.
I'm going to do my next one by myself, and that is Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler, which I'm sure is a surprise to him, but I loved this book. I loved reading it. I loved listening to it. I loved everything about it. So it belongs in my top 3, and it is number 3 of my books of 2021. So, and then I think our next one we share. Yeah.
Yeah, which for
Number
me was
2's.
very surprising for me, but as I'm not a big romance person.
We have talked about it a lot in this channel, and the author has been on our channel. So our number 2 book is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. We both loved this book for a variety of reasons, and I think both of our reasons are actually very different, but I think this is one of our favorite books of the year.
Yeah, also characters we haven't really read about before. At least I have not read about before.
Especially in romance. Especially in this kind of romance. Yeah. I'm after talking to Allison and hearing about her second book, I am super excited to read the next book. It's not a sequel, but I'm excited to read what she writes next because I really loved her writing and I loved this book a lot. So
yeah.
Thank you, Allison. I think people can guess what your number 1 is. I mean, we've been talking about it all year. My favorite book of this year is one I actually read a while ago, but it is Who is Maud Dixon by Alexandra Andrews. And I don't feel like enough people are talking about this damn book. Like, this book was insane. And it was so good. And I almost DNF'd it because I was like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what's happening. And then it just like, as soon as you have that thought, the book just takes you on a freaking journey. Like, why are people not talking about this book? I don't understand it. It's so good. He doesn't even want to read it. And I'm saying here, it's so good. Like, this is the best thing I read all year. Like, 100% the best thing I read all year.
I'll give it a chance.
Yeah. I think you would be surprised. I really think you would be surprised. But my number 1 of 2021 is Who is Maud Dixon. Can anybody guess? Let me hear it. What do you think David's top book of 2021 was? Anyone?
This book is, next to Craig, the love of my life.
Probably more.
It is Chelsea G. Summers, A Certain Hunger, of course. This is just, it's perfect in every way. It's everything that I look for in a book, in a character. It's just completely changed the way that I read books, of kind of certain books that I look for. And it was just my number one. And I would say not just for 2021, but it's in my top 5, I would say. Probably one of the few books that I've read numerous
Yeah, you read it 3 times now? 4 times?
4 times.
Yeah.
So
it's funny that both of our top 2 are authors that we've been able to talk to because of this channel. So going back to the BookTube questions that we had at the beginning of the video, like one of the benefits of being on BookTube is that you get to read books that you love and then sometimes even have the chance to talk to the authors about them. And like we've had the chance to talk to 2 authors this year of books that we absolutely loved. So that's been a huge benefit and a huge excitement for us. So, and we're glad that they agreed to even just like join us for, a second. So, yeah. So I think overall it was a good reading year. Yeah. I had some slumpy moments, some slumpy months, which were not great. And if you've been along for the ride, you know that our reading slumps have been well pronounced and deep.
October, September.
December for me. And November, really, I think. It was the last 3 months of the year were kind of tough, I think, for both of us reading wise. But we've really vowed to each other to take it easier on ourselves and to pick books that, we genuinely want to read and to really try to carve out time and find out, when we can actually sit down and read together. So, and read what we want to read. So, yeah. Well, we're really happy that you've come back to join us. We know we're not technically newbies, but we did want to join in this conversation. So if you liked this video, send it to someone and show them, who we are and help us that way and engage with us down below in the comments and tag some new people for yourself in the comments so that we can kind of engage with them and talk with them as well because we'd love to see more. We'd love to hear more from other booktubers and other booktube fans. So thank you for coming back to our videos. We appreciate it very, very much. You should also follow us on Instagram.
At @shelf_possessed.
And then come back at the end of this month, which is not that long, not that far away.
It's
next week to see our January wrap up, because we have lots of books to share, and then you'll get to hear our thoughts on our chapter taste test picks that we revealed in our last video. So well, I'm Craig.
And I'm David.
And we are Shelf Possessed, and we so appreciate you, and we're so glad to be here, and we will see you next time.